Yo. Welcome to the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is August the 6th. It's only one game in the W, so I'm not going to... I figured I wouldn't go live. Also, some time constraints as well. So we'll jump into the one game on the board for today, give you guys my thought process on it, and then we'll get ready to get off here. Coming off a night where I got smoked again. And it's not that I've been getting smoked every single night, but over the season, I've down more than I've lost. Yesterday, the three plays that I mentioned were, and I thought I had them up here, but I guess I do not. But it's always about being transparent. I'm down 8 units on the season. Almost 8.5 units on the season. This is I think the farthest we've gone backwards throughout the season. We had got it back within a unit, and then the rest of the stuff that's been happening recently. Dallas shoots, I think, 22% from the three-point line. A team that shoots about 35%, 36% yesterday. They can hit a three against the New York Liberty, but they do get up, I think they got to 77 yesterday. So we missed the team total by 5 points. Sonia Citron ended up taking profit. Well, not even taking profit, taking a small loss on Washington minus the 5.5 because we cashed out. Minus the 6 we cashed out. And ended up playing Sonia Citron. I knew it was bad when she started the game off over 5 from the field. Only had 1 rebound in the first quarter against the worst defense in the WNBA. So that ended up being a loser. And then Connecticut, first half plus the 8.5 because Connecticut is a team that's, they give you their best early and then they will just kind of slide off as the game goes on. Yesterday, they go to Phoenix and they get outscored 26-6 in the first quarter. So they end up losing the first half, needless to say. And, complete a nice little 0-3 night for myself, a little reverse sweep. So yeah, this is what the WNBA does, man. It continues to pounce on me, but I'm hoping you guys made some money yesterday. I keep saying we'll get it together, and I still believe we'll get it together. But the season is starting to get short, so we'll see what we can do moving forward. As far as Jackson, no place for Jackson yesterday because both ended up being void. Yesterday, I told you Jackson like Angel Reese. She ended up being ruled out. Then Jackson liked Brittany Sykes over her sis. She ended up getting traded, which is why we bought out of the Washington game. And that's that. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with a total look for Jackson. So I asked Jackson what's the thoughts on the total between the Valkyries and the Aces. Jackson likes the under 158.5. It says Golden State's offensive struggles. They've averaged just 78 points per game, ranking 11th in the league. They're the worst shooting team from the field, 39.9%, and the second worst from beyond the arc, 31.4%. They do boast the second best defensive rating in the league, allowing just 77.7 points per game. They're particularly stingy, holding opponents to a league best 40.8% from the field. The Valkyries play the slowest pace in the WNBA, which naturally contributes to the low scoring totals. The under has been a strong trend for Golden State this season, hitting 18 of their 28 games going under overall, and 8 of their last 12 games playing at home have stayed under as well. Las Vegas on the road, the Aces have also seen the under hit in 10 of their 16 road games this season. Then the news narratives, which are the impact of Kayla Thornton since she's gone down. Golden State offense has noticeably declined. In the 6 games since the All-Star break, they failed to clear 76.5 points in 3 instances, while they scored 77 points against the Aces on Sunday. That was still well below the combined total of 178 points from that game. Despite the Aces, which I don't know if that total was that high, I don't think it was. Despite the Aces not being an elite defensive team, the 9th in defensive rating, they managed to hold the Valkyries to 77 points in the last outing, demonstrating their ability to contain Golden State's diminished offense. The Las Vegas Aces, while still a strong team, haven't been the offensive juggernaut that they were in previous years, which further support the total going under. Considering Golden State's significant offensive limitations without Kayla Thornton, their league-leading defense, and their slow pace of play, I anticipate the game to stay under the projected total. So take the under 158.5, and I guess that makes sense. The problem is all 3 games are going over the total that we've seen so far between these 2 teams. But this one is back in Golden State, where they do play a little bit slower and a little bit better defense. So that's Jackson. Check out the link in the referral if you guys are the referral link in the description if you guys are interested. And let's jump into my thought thought process on the game. So we start with the injury report. I think the Aces have pretty much everybody healthy and active for this game outside of Sharon Parker Tyus, who hasn't played a game yet this season. On the Valkyrie side of things, this is where it gets a little difficult to handicap because Tiffany Hayes and Xander Seeley did not play in the last game. These two teams, of course, just played on Sunday. And they got smoked in that game, right? Aces won the second leg of a back-to-back after losing by 53 to the Minnesota Lynx. And they ended up thrashing the Valkyries. Game was over with at halftime. Aces had like a 20-point lead, close to 20-point lead at halftime. And then they just kind of coasted throughout the rest of the game. I think the Valkyries were +1 in the second half of the game, but it really didn't matter. I think they ended up winning the game by 20-something. That was without Tiffany Hayes. That was without Xander Seeley. Monique Billings is also out. She's going to be out, I think, for another at least 2 weeks. And then Kayla Thornton, of course, is out. So without Tiffany Hayes, without Xander Seeley, without Monique Billings, without Kayla Thornton, I want nothing to do with the Valkyries, and I get it. Nice little bounce back spot. They are back at home. This is where I think they've covered 7 straight spreads at home as a dog as well. Like, this is a typical spot you want to take the Valkyries. But you look a little bit closer at the standings, and the Valkyries have won 3 straight games, all against some questionable opponents outside of the Atlanta Dream. Before they beat the Dream, they beat the Mystics, and then they beat the Chicago Sky in that order. Before losing to the Aces, coming back to the West Coast. The Aces are 1 game ahead of the Valkyries. They currently 1 place ahead of the Valkyries. They currently sit in 7th. The Valkyries sit in 8th. I think I kind of just want to take the better team. I do think the Aces are the better team. I think the Valkyries are coming back down to earth, especially given the injuries. But I can't pull a trigger without knowing the status of Tiffany Hayes and Xander Seeley. Xander Seeley was somebody who got the game-winning steal and hit the game-winning 3-pointer against the Atlanta Dream just like about a week ago. And then we know what Tiffany Hayes means to this team as well. She was a former, Las Vegas Aces player from last season, and her ability to be able to not just create for others, but also be able to knock down some 3-point shots would, definitely help the Valkyries offense and defense in this spot. So I know that the Valkyries are 9-3 against the spread at the crib. I know that they're 17-11 overall in the season. I know they got a lot to play for. I know they got revenge on their mind, especially after losing the way that they did, but I don't know, man. It's difficult. It's difficult for me. The first time that these two teams played was also in Golden State. Golden State was getting 12.5 points, and they absolutely smoked the Aces in that spot as well. So do the Aces, feel a little fat and happy off, back-to-back wins against the Valkyries because they did win the most 2 recent games? Or, are we going to see an Aces team on the road that comes in and handles their business? What I'll tell you guys, and I mentioned this in the Minnesota Lynx game on Saturday, is that when the Aces play a team that has been playing against, when they're playing a team that has a 50% win percentage or better, or let's just say better than a 51% win percentage, they have been absolutely getting smoked. I think they're just like 2-10 against the number when they're playing against a team that has a winning record. When they're playing against a team that has that's 50-50 or less than the Golden State Valkyries, like the Golden State Valkyries are, then the Aces have done a really good job, both like on the road and at home. So that kind of lends itself, in my opinion, to the Aces. I think the number coming down. If the Valkyries players are going to play, it makes a lot of sense. If they're not going to play, then I'll be looking at the Aces. I do think that they can go ahead and get this game. From a player prop perspective, I'm not going to pull this up on the screen, but from a player prop perspective, actually, I will pull it on the screen. If we go over really quickly to Outlier, let me just transition really quickly. Let's see if I can get this up quick. So if we go over to Outlier, there's a link in the description if you guys want to check Outlier out. If we look at, it's a couple of players I'm looking at to play here. Asia Wilson. The first time that they played, they doubled Asia like crazy, and I'm thinking that that's going to happen again in this game. But if that does happen, the Aces proved last game they can knock down some threes, and we'll talk about that in a little bit in a second. But what I want to play on Asia is her rebounds. 9.5 is the number. You can see that she's over in 3 of her last 4 games. She's coming off a 14 rebound game against Golden State. Back-to-back games against the Valkyries. You can see that here, 16 and 14 in the 2 home games. And this first matchup here, where she had just 6 boards, was because they got blown out, right? This was the game that the Aces got blown out. Asia only played 26 minutes. You can see that right here. So I like Asia. I think looking at the Valkyries rebounding numbers over their last 5 games without Kayla Thornton, who's probably their best rebounder, and Monique Billings, who also will miss this game. Golden State is actually allowing the third most offensive rebounds, and that's a significant slide because on the full season they actually the second fewest offensive rebounds. So they haven't been able to rebound the ball as good as they typically have, which makes sense. Like no Monique Billings, no Kayla Thornton, rebounds supposed to slide a little bit. So I like Asia Wilson. I do think it'll be a bunch of missed shots as well. And then you got to look at Jewel Lloyd. I think Jewel Lloyd is absolutely somebody that you have to be. Let's see if I can find her. There we go. You got to look at Jewel Lloyd. She her 3-point prop is still listed at 1.5. If I can find that. Yeah, 3-point prop is still listed at 1.5. It's not even just because she's coming off a game where she made 7 of her 11 in this game here. You can go down here and look at the 3-point attempts. But this is what I'm liking, right? It's not like the volume down here. You can see, look, 1-1-1, right? In these 3 games, she shot 4-4-3. But look at these games here. Like this over her last 5 games. I'm sorry, over her last 4 games. These combined 4 games right here, she shot 36 threes. You got to think that she'd be able to knock down 2. Like I said, she hit 7 in this game, but she shot 11. That's what you're betting on. You're betting on volume. She got the ultra green light being a part of that second unit since she's been moved to the bench. So I like the attempts for Jewel Lloyd. I think she will continue to be able to knock down threes. You can see that the Valkyries are not great 3-pointers allowed. They allowed the second most. And then over the last 5 games, they've allowed the most overall. And they're also the third worst 3-point percentage over the last 5 games as well. So it's a very, very this is new right here. This green thing means favorable, I guess. Yeah, favorable matchup. So yeah, favorable matchup for Jewel Lloyd. Like I said, not just because she did it last game, but that's what the Valkyries do. They just collapse defensively on whoever the big is. And if Asia Wilson gets the ball, you can expect that it'll be kicked out, and Jewel Lloyd should be able to knock down a couple threes. I also considered Jackie Young rebounds and assists. They have bumped the number up a little bit to 8.5, not 7.5 anymore, but she continues to crush that line as well. She didn't go over in the first game that these 2 teams played, again, because that was a blowout, but she did go over in the last 2 games. So that's my thought process on the game. I like Asia over her boards, Jewel Lloyd over her 1.5 threes. And I don't really know if I agree with Jackson with the total, but I know I can bet the total without knowing the injury report of Tiffany Hayes and Xander Sealy. So that's my thought process. If I'm betting, that's what I'm betting. Short list is here. Haven't confirmed anything yet. Sign up link in the description as always. Check the resources out if you guys are interested. Outlive, Moneyballer, Odds Jam. Hit the like button for me on the way out if you can. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Turn the notification bell on so you know when I go live. It's a big slate I think again tomorrow, so we'll be back then. Best of luck on your action for tonight, man.